All right, guys, we've been teasing this one for a while, and it's time to talk about the Whipple 392. So let's go take a look. Hey everybody, it's Bubba with Exodus 4x4, where we build badass 4x4s. And today we have a really beautiful 392 Wrangler build that, man, it does all the right things without doing too much to the Jeep. And that's why I think this video is important. So I know I introduced videos in Whipple Supercharger, but really as I think about it, this build video is more about like taking and just changing a little bit of the Jeep, and it has amazing dramatic results. So first of all, let's look. It's obvious that the Jeep is on 40-inch trail grapplers, right? And it looks kind of familiar. Looks like some of the other builds we've done with the portal axles on it. So yeah, we're running 74 well. These are going to be the Gen 1 portals. Now they have Gen 2, so they're a little bit less expensive. The Gen 2 portals run about $17,000 now. So that's a $3,000 drop from the original Gen 1 price. And minor improvements over Gen 2 versus Gen 1. But Jeep guys, you're still gonna have to buy your parking brake assembly separate, unlike the Bronco guys that it's built into the brake system. You know, it's not 17,000 flat for the Jeep. It's gonna be maybe a little bit more, but still, 74 well is making progress on making those things cheaper for us. And it's still gonna look the same as this if you put the Gen 2 portals on one of these builds, man. It looks beautiful. What's really great about the portal axle option is the ride quality. This thing still drives and handles basically like it was stock. The suspension's still the same. The steering components are still the same. Shocks, springs, everything's still the same. So it still rides the same, it still handles the same. Difference is, yes, we are sitting up a little bit taller and we have the 40s on there. So, I mean, it's a great combination. We use the Raceline Rhino Forged B-Locks in plus 25. Yes, they're not cheap wheels, but that's the ones that we have to go with in order to get the proper wheel offset that works best with, you know, because we're adding 3.5 inches per side to the overall width of the vehicle, so 7 inches. We need to bring that back in with some plus 25 offset, which that does great. We're gonna make minor changes here and there without having to do too much to the Jeep. And these fenders, that's another awesome example of that. Instead of going with aftermarket fender flares for the Jeep, we chose to go with the Quake LED fender trim kit with these smoked LEDs. So we're still keeping the look of the factory, but we're gaining the clearance of an aftermarket fender flare. I like this option because there's something about the fender flares, the factory ones, that just look so good, especially the painted ones on a black Jeep like this. I think it looks really, really clean to keep it this way. So again, minimal changes. And then we use the American Adventure Lab inner fender liners. And let me tell you, this is one of the first times we've done this particular part install. And man, I really, really, really like them, mostly because of the ease of taking them in and out, you know, because I don't know about you guys, but we do a lot of inner liners from different manufacturers, and sometimes it's really tricky getting them in and out, and we do that. Sometimes you have to remove them to access parts of the engine bay to get to some of those different components, and having to take out those other aftermarket inner liners sucks sometimes. There's just a lot of hardware. The American Adventure Lab ones are really nice because the simplicity of, like, I forget what these things are called, the hardware type, but it's not a screw, it's more like a twist cam lock type fastener in there. So they're, boom, just like a quarter or half turn, and they come out and the inner liner is removed. Same thing when you're going back in. You set them up there, you put your those cam lock bolts in there, and boom, they're right back in. So I really like these American Adventure Lab inner liners. As you can see, we also have them in the rear too. So inner liners for the rear. The Wrangler JLs haven't been around from the beginning. So as time has gone on with this platform, we have seen some innovation come out where they've really cleaned it up, and American Adventure Lab did a really good job. They hit it. What's cool about this is also a lot of these inner liners, you're able to powder coat the emblem, the backing of the emblem. So we did that on Assad's Jeep. We did the gold, so it really pops back there. Kind of breaks it up, the contrast a little bit. So really nice option if you're gonna be doing inner liners on any Jeep, but really particularly on the combination of the fender trim kits like Quake does. Now, back to the tire carrier. We're gonna be running the Moto-Built tire carrier. We run this tire carrier on, you've seen us run it a million times by now, but if we're gonna be running a 40-inch tire back there on a B-lock, especially on a B-lock, a forged B-lock, you know, that's a lot of weight you're adding to the tailgate back there. So it's nice having that Moto-Built tire carrier to offset, take the load of that weight. Let's go back around this way now. One thing I forgot to mention first when we walked by right here was the rock slide engineering steps. We're adding a step, a slider, with the armor for the rock slide engineering steps, it's a drop down step. So I think this one's still turned off. There we go. We dropped it off at the detail shop yesterday, and we want to make sure those guys didn't mess anything up, so we turned them on. But anyways, really nice about those steps. Like I said, it's minimal changes to this build that make it look so damn good. He wanted this interior light from Stealth that I honestly didn't even notice just when the first time I opened up the Jeep and was looking around. I mean, it does that good of a job, but as you can see, it mounts up here like where your visors would normally be, right? Well, where they are, but almost don't even notice it. I notice it because I'm 6'3" and I don't fit very well in Jeeps anyways. But when I first looked in here and I started looking around and everything, as the final assembly on everything came to a close, I completely forgot about that light. In fact, the only time I really notice it is when I'm standing at the front of the Jeep, looking through the windshield, and then I see it up there. And I'm like, oh shit, that's a really cool option. I like that light. It might not be something that I would put in my build, but it's definitely cool. And again, we're just sort of like quietly placing modifications in place. We kept the Mopar bumpers because I like them. If you take the extensions off, especially on a Jeep like this with 40s, I think we used an existing hole on the bumper, or used existing hardware on the bumper to mount the LP6s on the front. So, you know, it's like, again, we don't have to do too much to the Jeep. Up here, we put the A-pillar mounts for the LP4s, nothing crazy. But here's what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting for us to talk about the Supercharger. And, you know, I mean, I don't know what really to say about it. I mean, I can't walk you through the install. It is what it is. I just went to, the only thing that we really had to change was we got rid of the hook for the hood latch right here, because we have so much going on. We added PSC steering to this, and we needed a place to put the cooler, and we put it up high up here, and so now the hood latch won't go in there, but no big deal. I mean, we have the side latches, so, you know, whatever. I'm not too worried about it. But look at this thing. This is the queen, right? This is what everybody wants to see, is the Whipple Supercharger, designed specifically for this platform, the factory 392 Wrangler. So when guys are asking like, man, I want a 392, what can I do? Can I add a cam to it and all this other stuff? Yes, you can cam swap the factory 392. The problem is like, it's not like cam swapping an LS. It's more expensive. It's a lot of work. There's no room to work in here. I personally would pull the engine out probably to do the cam swap on it. I know like a lot of engines you can do them in frame. I'd probably pull the HEMI out in this case to do it. But rather than do all that, spend some extra money and do the Whipple Supercharger. I know it's not as cheap as doing a cam swap, but still, you are going to gain a lot of power from this. We unfortunately were not able to do a dyno of the setup. I wanted to do the portals and the 40s on it and then dyno it, and then do a post install of the Supercharger dyno, and we just couldn't do it. I mean, my buddy Corey's very slammed at his dyno shop, and he wasn't able to get me in. Well, our schedules just conflicted between what we had going on at the shop and what he had going on at his shop, so we weren't able to do it. I can tell you that 100,000% this Supercharger made a difference, okay? I would say it's equivalent to putting a cam swap in there, more than that, really. Now, keep in mind, because a lot of people are going to say this, I'm going to save you the trouble going to the comments and saying it. You are going to be limited to the amount of boost that you can apply with this setup because, yes, the factory 392 internals are not forged. So I believe that we're looking at about a 6 PSI, no more than that, to boost it. So it is adding power to it for sure. I mean, it really woke this engine up, and I think it's a great option for it. Whipple gives you the option to powder coat the Supercharger. We bought the powder coat that we were using. We bought extra couple pounds, I think, what we were using on the rest of the Jeep. Sent it to Whipple when we did the order, and they took care of the powder coat for us. So this powder coat here is the same powder coat we used on the rest of the Jeep on everything else to match the trim of the factory 392, like gold trim. Is it a simple install? I wouldn't say it's hard. Took us a little bit longer than we wanted to, just because, again, schedules, right? Getting people on our schedule and working with their schedule, getting it tuned took a little bit longer. That's why, you know, you guys were waiting for this video and it took longer than you thought. That's why. It was mostly just us waiting on our timelines with the tuners to match up. So just know that if you do this kit and you don't pay us to do it, you're going to be at the mercy of the tuner once the install is done to make sure everything's good to go. Anytime, you guys know this, if you're doing any kind of boost application, can tunes, I never trust a can tune on something like this. I definitely want a tuner to look at it, make sure we're not too lean, too rich, and you know, everything's going to work on it. We're not going to put a hole in the side of the block. Like I said, if you guys are going with this kit, make sure you get it verified by a tuner once you're done installing it. But right now, this thing is solid. I love driving it. We took it to my son's career day was a couple days ago, and I took it over there. Obviously, we're the coolest guys at career day, but we popped the hood on this thing, and all, you know, 8, 9, 10-year-olds are going crazy looking at this thing. It's fun. They don't even know what they're looking at, but they think it's awesome. And that's probably like most people anyways. I'm stoked about this kit. If I personally had a factory 392 Wrangler and I wanted more power out of it, 100% I'd be doing this kit. I'd probably bump up and do a forged kit on the internals and may even try to push it more. Now, I know a lot of people are gonna be asking the question, so I'll address it. It's the elephant in the room. How much power do I think it's making, and is it safe for the stock axles? Because you guys notice we're running portals on here, which means we are running the factory M210 and M220 rear axles. I think we're good to go. I've said this before about portals. It sort of distributes stress across the drivetrain when you add another gear reduction in place. So I'm not afraid of it. Whenever we did this kit, I was like, I'm pretty sure it'll handle it. If not, what we'll do is we'll just replace the rear axle with a Curry HD60 with the 5 lugs. And then we'll change the portals out to the ones that'll adapt to those axles, and we'll be fine. But I don't think that's gonna be an issue. I told him no power braking, no crazy stuff like that with it. And really that's where that concern comes from, is when we're sitting at a dead stop and we're just gonna slam that differential with a whole lot of torque from this engine, that's when you're gonna start breaking stuff. But I told him, as long as you're driving around, you're rolling when you do it, you hit that gas, I think we're gonna be okay. But yes, that obviously is a concern, is the rear axle, because, you know, it is just a Dana 44. But I give these axles a lot of credit. They've been upgraded since the JK days. They have a much stronger pinion than they did back then. So I'm not too worried about it. But you get what I'm saying about, we added more power to the engine without putting a Hellcat in it, without putting a 426, without doing a cam job or anything like that. The Whipple even comes with different components to make the hydroglide system still function. So we did take some of that out from under the hood and replaced it with the ones that Whipple said. The hydroglide, as you can see, was still in there. It's still functional. All right, so this is a really cool addition that we've done. First time we've done it. I think it's pretty new because I haven't seen too much of it, but this is a setup from American Adventure Lab. Now remember, I love the stuff that these guys make. They've innovated a lot of cool stuff for the platforms, but this is definitely one that's cool. And this is gonna mount to, at first you didn't even know, like I didn't even notice at first that it wasn't, like I thought this was the tailgate, but it's not. This entire piece is bolted onto the tailgate and then mounted to it. So what's inside of here is an ARB twin compressor. That's not the new brushless one, but I think that one will probably fit. Your ARB air compressor is mounted inside this compartment right here. You have a little work table right here, or, you know, when you set your beer, whatever, your different air components. On-off switch right here. Trash bag holder right here. Very important, you guys. You're out there, you're making a mess. Keep track of your trash. Hook it on here. Put your air chucks right there. And then Apex, dude, I love these things. These are really cool. These hose reels from Apex, these are so cool. Really, really neat. These guys screw onto the tires. And, oops. Here, but the whole reel thing is super cool. That thing looks like mess. I should have done a cleaner job of that. But anyways, you guys get the idea. Apex has had these reels out for a while. They're really cool. Definitely check them out. I love all this, right? It's super clean. There's a light right here too. I think that's a light. That's a light, right? It looks like a light. That's a light. So yeah, they got a cool light back here. If you're out in the dark, you're working, you got plenty of little illuminations going on. I love this Jeep, man. It's just so, it's so clean the way. Assad really chose some really nice parts. Him and Ryan got together and they brainstormed on this build and came up with some really sweet, sweet plans. And I love it, man. It looks so dope. I mean, it's an aggressive looking Jeep that didn't take a whole lot of, like, we didn't have to change a whole lot about the Jeep to make it look this way. Yeah, I know a lot of you guys are gonna say, well, yeah, all that stuff costs a lot of money, but I mean, it's not cheap. However, look what you did. You didn't have to change a whole lot of this factory 392 that, dude, it's so rad. I love it. It's clean, it's beautiful, it's big. Just, it's gnarly looking. One more thing we did, one of the benefits of keeping the factory bumper is just adding the winch plate and then throwing in that Warn winch. Assad even had the Warn logo done in gold for this winch. So we took off the factory, the red Warn, and put this guy on there for him. So that's cool. And then we took the Factor 55, the Ultra Hook, and had it powder coated with the same powder coat powder that we used from Prismatic Powders for the supercharger and all the other components. So everything matches. That's gonna wrap it up for this build, guys. If you want more information on this build, email us, call us at the shop. If you're wanting us to build one just like it, or you see some of the parts on there, make sure you hit up Ryan and let him know. And for more videos on off-roading and other cool stuff, click here. Time to send this one home in a stupid little duck.